It's another edition of It's Always Game Day in Cleveland, coming to you from the Greenbrier in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, also known as the middle of nowhere. And joining me, a very special guest, and if there's ever somebody that needed to be the first training camp guest on It's Always Game Day in Cleveland, it is the outstanding left guard for the Cleveland Browns. He is a 5-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, and in my view, a future Hall of Famer, and I swear I'm not sucking up to you, Joel. Joel Bitonio.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. This is cool. We got a good background behind us. It's not Photoshop. This is real deal right here.
Yeah, so how is, being out here in the middle of nowhere going?
I think you're right in the fact that it's the middle of nowhere, but it's beautiful. They sing about West Virginia, almost heaven and stuff, and it's pretty beautiful. We've had some debates how long we'd survive out in the trees and stuff like that, but it's cool. The hotel's been nice, the food's been good. The rooms are a little, dated, I think. Feels like I'm going to my great grandma's house, but it's been nice. They've treated us really well.
So are you more of a city guy or a country guy?
So I grew up as a city guy, but I enjoy the country too, you know what I mean? So one of my favorite places is Lake Tahoe, which is kind of country, you know what I mean? But I like the city too. I like going to nice restaurants and like enjoying that as well. So I'm a good mix.
Okay. So the reason we're here, well, because Kevin Stefanski decided to bring you guys here, but the reason we're here at this particular time on the calendar is some guy named Joe Thomas. You guys have to play in the Hall of Fame game. I'm not anticipating that you will be playing in the Hall of Fame game, but have you thanked Joe yet for forcing you to go to training camp early?
Not personally. It's been more like through the media, through you guys. I've mentioned it a few times, but I think he understands. I think the day he retired, I was like, if I'm still playing for the Browns, like I'm gonna have to play in a Hall of Fame game eventually, and that day has come. We got here a little early, but it's good. I think we're ramping it up a little slower this year just to get guys used to it, get their bodies working. So I think at the end of the day, we're going to turn this into a really positive thing. But Joe, you would have hated if someone made you come, a week early to training camp as well.
What did he mean? We've talked over the years just what he has meant to you professionally. What did he mean to you on a personal level?
It was very special because he was, going into his 8th year. He had a family. He had his kid, first kid at least, and he was having his second, I believe, when I first got there, and to invite me and my wife Courtney into their lives, and I think we went to Thanksgiving dinner the first year with them. We didn't have any family out here, and they treated us like family. They always included me as a young rookie, even though the core of that group was a lot older. I just appreciated that so much, and I kind of use it now to include our rookies and really take them under the wing. And they gave me a hard time, but at the end of the day, like, it was all fun and games and nothing harmful, and it was a great room to go into.
So Dan Murphy, who is the director of communications here with the Cleveland Browns, he has co-authored an authorized, it says on the authorized, and in Joe Thomas's words, autobiography of Joe. Have you gotten an autographed copy? And if so, your initial thoughts on that book?
So Dan left a copy in my locker right before he left. No one's autographed it yet, which is a little disappointing. But when I see Joe, hopefully the Hall of Fame or a training camp, I'll try and get him to autograph it. I think I am in the quotes. Some quotes of Joel Bitonio might be in the book, so I'm sure that part's great. No, it'll be interesting to read. I know Joe, but you always find some cool, fun facts when you look back on an autobiography.
Yeah, it's interesting. He went through a lot in his career. Unfortunately, the team did not win a lot. His best season was his rookie season. For you at least got to taste the postseason. You, though, similar to Joe, have been through a lot here in your time in Cleveland. And I want to talk about expectations because, as you know, this is the time of year we're all in good moods. You don't hate us yet. We're writing nice things about you guys. And the vibe around here, it seems like the elevated expectations, you can feel it, but you can't feel it, if that makes sense. Just from your perspective, where is your belief in that you guys are going to be able to live up to that, I don't want to say hype, but hope that this is going to be another breakout season?
From our perspective, internally, we have expectations for ourselves individually and as a team. But I think the guys here understand that the work comes before those expectations. And so for us to come out and accomplish our goals for the season, we have to put in the work starting now. And to talk about things that we want or things down the road is just really putting us out of place right now. We have a focus, and I think honestly led by Deshaun. He's taken a bigger leadership role. Nick Chubb, the guys that have been here, Miles on defense, Denzel. The focus is on the work right now, and I think Coach Stefanski has put that out there. We have expectations for ourselves, but right now the expectations are to work and get as good as we can get, brick by brick, day by day.
The last football question I have for you, then we'll get into the fun stuff.
Okay.
You mentioned Coach Stefanski. Now, obviously, he projects a certain image in front of us, in front of the cameras and the microphones. What's he like behind the scenes?
He's a football guy. I think when you see him and these young coaches, they're always like, oh, they're, players coaches or this type of coach, and I think he is cut from like an old school football cloth. Like, he likes the work, he likes the grind of football, which we appreciate, but he does have that, sense of humor that you probably don't get as much at the podium. He'll joke around a little bit, and he'll, I give him a few jokes. I'm one of the older guys, so I can joke around with him a little bit. Hopefully he's not taking them too personal, you know what I mean? But no, he's a football guy. He loves the game, and I think he'll do anything to win, and that's his real mindset. But he has a little bit more personality than I think you guys see on camera.
All right, since you opened the door there, real quick, what was it? Give me a joke that you got away with.
Well, pretty much anytime he says something wrong or says something incorrect, I'll make sure I correct him, if he misses something at teammate. I don't do it in front of everybody, but afterwards I'm like, oh, Coach, I think you said the wrong time for that or the wrong word. It's more just like jabs like that to make sure I'm paying attention and I know what he's doing.
Joel Bitonio, kind enough to visit with us here on It's Always Game Day in Cleveland. More with Joel after this.